Happy Wednesday, everybody. Thank you so much for downloading or streaming the Be Our Guest podcast. Today, it's a Mike and Scott show again, and we're taking a break from the listener questions and tackling the question of how to help us give our first-time friends their best experience when it comes to a Walt Disney World, Disneyland, or Disney Cruise Line experience. So see what we come up with so that we can help these friends who we take. We know we want them to have the very best trip possible when we take them on those three types of trips. And we think about that kind of deeply so that we can help them to see the magic the same way that we do. And so that they'll kind of fall in love with the destinations like we do. So see how we do and then give us some feedback over in the clubhouse. Don't forget, today's show brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel. We'd love to help you plan your next Walt Disney World, Disneyland, Disney Cruise Line vacation for no additional cost to you. So check out all the details today over at themagicforless.com. Please also use our Amazon affiliate link when you shop online. That one extra click really does support everything we do throughout the year. It's beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. And thank you so much to our Patreon supporters. You're the all-stars that keep us on the air. You can support us as well, just $5 a month. And when you do that, you get a bonus show called Mike in the Midwest. So come over this week. We'd sure love to have you. Patreon.com/BeOurGuestPodcast.
Ready to take a trip to the world? You found the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. This is where your memories come front and center on our podcast stage.
Welcome to episode 2850 of the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rallman from BeOurGuestPodcast.com and one of the senior agents over at the Magic for Less Travel. Happy Wednesday to you. Hope you're having a great week. Thanks for dropping in. It's a Mike and Scott show yet again. We're having a good time over the past few weeks hanging out, spending some time with you. And today, we're skipping out of the listener questions because, we're not trying to trick you. We're recording this one a bit early. And the listener questions, it's a little bit tough to do that a couple of weeks ahead of time. So we are going to tackle a topic that we get pretty often. It's actually kind of a listener question. People ask this a lot. We're going to tackle first-timers. And when you get the opportunity to take first-timers either to Walt Disney World, Disneyland, or on a Disney cruise, best practices. And to do that, Scotty G in the house. Must-see adventures. Happy Wednesday, Scott. What is going on with you?
Happy Wednesday, Mike. Yeah, no urgency today, right? With these questions, because if someone had an urgent question, who knows when they would have wrote it in, because we are recording a little ahead of time. But yeah, happy to tackle this subject. First timers. Gosh, remember when we were first timers, Mike? That was ages ago, wasn't it?
It was, but you know what? That's a good place to start. We should start at the beginning. As they say sometimes.
When we were first timers, what were we doing when we were first timers?
Let's start there. I mean, I remember, and I'm not going to go back to when I passed through, in fifth grade for a half a day in the Magic Kingdom, but I'm going to talk about my first trip when I went down with Pam and we stayed at All-Star Sports and we didn't know much. I didn't even consult a guidebook or anything at that point. We just had Christmas break. We saw a TV commercial. I don't even know how we booked it. I guess we called the phone number. I can't remember. Maybe we went online.
How did you book?
I don't even remember how it went. We didn't know anything. Didn't know. I can't, it's so long ago, but we booked it and it wasn't as complicated back then, but we just kind of went in blind. But still, I look back on that trip with fondness, but I know we made so many mistakes. But I think sometimes if we can take people through their first time trips and help them, miss the pitfalls. But now that you bring that up, isn't ignorance bliss sometimes? I mean, you do help people miss the pitfalls when you take a first timer. But if you're kind of going blind, I think sometimes you just have a good time either way. I didn't think about that.
For sure, because you don't really know what you're missing out on, But I will say, I was very thankful for a coworker of mine who hadn't been to Disney herself either. But I like you, I saw a commercial, and Liz had been years ago, in middle school with her parents, and Emily was about 3 years old, and I had never been on a plane, and Liz is we should take Emily. I think it'd be a lot of fun, Scott. You can finally go on a plane. And I was kind of nervous about flying, you had always been. So me and Emily, all right, let's hop on that plane and go to Walt Disney World. So we booked like a package online.
Mhm.
So I know we didn't call. We booked online and booked the deluxe dining package,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
It was, and but like I wasn't making any reservations, and we booked it like maybe like a couple months before. And I just remember a coworker of mine like went to the library and was like, Scott, like check out this book. It's like taking your kids to Walt Disney World. Like you know, you might find some interest in this. And I gave it to Liz, and she started reading it, and it's like, oh my gosh, this author said that we should make something called like ADRs, or like advanced dining reservations. If we have that dining plan, we might want to consider this. And that, I tell you, saved the trip, because or else we would have went in there with no reservations. And how messy would that have been with a deluxe dining plan with no reservations?
Yeah, 100%. But, even back in the day, though, maybe. I mean, you're right. Having the reservations always helped. But, I mean, it wasn't as disastrous
Correct.
15 years ago.
And because this was like a week or two before, we still got like Cinderella's royal table for like
great.
breakfast,
I know,
like we still were able to pull like crazy ADRs.
And that proves your point. And actually, when I started my first trip, they weren't even called ADRs. Do you remember what they were called before ADRs?
I don't even know.
They were called PSs. They were called priority seatings, is what you.
Oh my gosh!
And they were at 180. Remember, they were at 180 days out, 6 months. You booked those things. Yeah, I mean,
That's
things
crazy.
have changed so much, but yeah, it was a different
talk
time.
about first timer tips. So a tip with that for like dining for me is like, I would not recommend doing all table service restaurants, because that's a trap my family fell in on that first trip because of the deluxe dining plan, because there were so many table service credits that you had with that. We spent 6 hours a day, I felt like, in restaurants. Like the half of our waking hours, it seemed like we were like in restaurants, and yet we still came back and loved it. You guys know the history with us, but I would say like spread it out a little bit. And one of my biggest tips, and I know I'm probably stealing one from you, is utilize the mobile ordering system.
Yes.
People might not realize that when they go down there. I mean, you're seeing it a little bit more today's world. Like a lot of like fast food chains have like some type of app or something, but you might not think that Walt Disney World has it, but even today, like with it being around for a while, it still is a huge advantage. So always mobile order. It saves you so much time, and it's easier to customize things, orders and things like that. I just find it really helpful.
Dude, I have not been inside a Target since COVID. Why would you ever set foot inside of a Target? Like I never do. I just whoop right into that parking spot. Like if somebody's going to bring my stuff out for free, why would you ever do it? Like mobile order. It's just, you're the person, you're the car at Walt Disney World. This mobile order, man, it's a hack. I'm just saying, you nailed it. But that's a great point about table service dining, because I think for all of us experienced travelers, right, we could fall into that trap that like, oh my gosh, like I'm bringing my nephews or my buddy for the first time, and I got to show them my 17 favorite restaurants at Walt Disney World in this 6-day trip. And that's a trap, because think about it from their perspective. They're going to want to do the rides and see the shows. And I mean, as great as meals are, they're time eaters. So what would you, I think you got to kind of expanding on that real quick. I would say you got to kind of like think about maybe how you going to divide them up, like do some character meals, maybe hit a buffet, maybe like a hoop-de-doo, like experience meal. You got to really kind of maybe do like a sampling of the different kind of experiences.
You nailed it, a sampling. And it depends on like what the person's trip is. Like, are they coming down for just like 2 days? Is it 4 or 5 days? So I mean, that has a big impact on how you're doing this. But I think if you're staying on property and you're doing like a 3 or 4 day stay, 3 or 4 night stay, your first trip, and you're a first timer, obviously, I think a character meal is huge. I think that's just it's a huge time saver to see characters. It's a great way to do it. You get a nice breakfast, you do like a Chef Mickey's or a Crystal Palace. You see some classic characters. It's fun. It gives you that classic Disney buffet experience, and you get some autographs. Well, today, like depending on the restaurant, they might give you like an autograph card. I wish they all had like the autograph book, but that's kind of a fun thing to give a first timer, right? Is like an autograph book, so that you can kind of create that memory, whether you're a 3-year-old or a 63-year-old. Like, I think it's kind of fun to have that little autograph book for a first timer as a memento, like keepsake. So like I like the autograph book, and like a great place to start is with the character meal.
Yeah, I agree with that. So you mentioned a couple of the good ones. So I would say things like you said, like Chef Mickey's, Crystal Palace, like if princesses, like Akershus is a good kind of second. I would say, Cinderella's Royal Table is good for first timers because there's something magical about eating in the castle.
For sure.
That's a good thing. What other? So I'm trying to think, maybe a few more. You're a big fan of Topolino's because you still get that's a good meal and you get the
so it's a
basic
great
characters.
meal, and like the characters, like the outfits are so great. Like I love Minnie's outfit in that, and like they're so artsy in there. And one thing about that one, so you think about I'm trying to think of a good example. I mean, Crystal Palace. Let's take Crystal Palace or Hollywood and Vine. The tables are kind of close together there, so like you go out to meet a character, you take your photo, and a lot of your photos you can see like the patrons next to you, the guests next to you, and like drinking their milk or whatever. At Topolino's though, I think they designed it pretty wisely, and I think about it too, it's a signature restaurant at night, so like the tables are a little more spread out, so it's nice for the characters. Like when you get up, a lot of times like there's not as many guests in your photos. So like, I like that too for the characters. I'm always thinking about like, who's going to be in my photos when I'm at these character meals.
That's a good point. Maybe they even designed that restaurant because, it's one of the newest places on property. Like, okay, let's think about this. Like this could be this character location.
That's always the toughest part, right? When you get out, like Ohana is another one. Like the tables are so close together. You get up, you're like, you're like scooching around the table next to me. Like, I'm sorry about that. Let me take a piece of bacon while I'm here. Like, it's just always so weird,
Take a swig of your OJ while I'm here. And Sean in the chat says Cape May and Tusker House for breakfast. Good ones too. That's classic characters.
What do you think about this? So you were saying like for first timers and like tips for them, like you don't want to overwhelm them with the restaurants, because like it's just like too much. Like we like the restaurants, so I want to take them and show this, but I personally don't always want to overwhelm them with being in the theme park for 12 hours a day too. I think it's really important to build in some breaks for a first timer. And I don't know if they're thinking about that when they go, because when my family would go to like Cedar Point or like a local theme park, we never took breaks. We just 100%. Went to the theme park and we just went do like commando style. We would do all this stuff and like come back to the Holiday Inn or whatever was close by and just be exhausted. And I don't think that's a good strategy for the Disney parks. What do you think?
I'm with you. And that's kind of transitioning to what my next question was going to be is where do you stay? If you could pick, and here's the thing, because some of the hotels at Walt Disney World, some of the resorts are more Disney themed. Like you're going to get a lot of Disney, and some of them are more like geographically themed, like a Coronado Springs to the American Southwest or Yacht Club, to the north, the Northeast, that whole theme. So, I say for a first timer, hit them with a Pop Century. If they're a Disney fan, like they're really excited to like, in air quotes, go to Disney, as much as it's great for the amenities of like a beach club or a Grand Floridian or something like the Polynesian's hard to shy away from. That'd be amazing. But maybe for a first trip, like a Pop Century, even an All Stars is not a bad place to start. I mean, as long as you're not there during a cheer comp or something. I don't know.
I think about my dad and brother. So my dad and brother and I've been to Walt Disney World. So when I think about this, I'm always thinking about them in the back of my head. And Pop Century would be the perfect place for them.
Same for my dad, because he would love that, because he's not a huge Disney guy, but he's a big pop culture guy.
Exactly. They're not huge Disney people, my dad and brother. They're not like high end, wanting to stay at a Grand Floridian. They don't want to spend a lot of money. They would just want a place to like just relax and have a pool, which you got great pools. You got the 50s pool, the bowling pin pool and the computer pool and all that. And you have enough Disney there from like my dad would love like the Jungle Book, like big characters and things like that. Like my dad would get a kick out of that. My brother would love the arcade and like some of the like, nostalgic things with the pops and like the pop culture stuff there, and the food court. So there would not be a more perfect resort for my dad and brother than Pop Century for a first timer.
What I would say to that is, here's how you kind of work your way around that for a first time trip. Like if you're there, let's say like the trip's 5 nights, 6 nights, something like that, just an average length, that you stay at Pop Century, but then, you have a meal at say like a Beaches and Cream. So that gives you the opportunity while you're over at Beach Club to show them, oh, well, here's what some of the other resorts look like. So while you're going to Beaches and Cream, you just take that stroll around Crescent Lake. So you show them the boardwalk and, oh, yeah, this is one of the deluxe hotels. And you show them Beach Club and Yacht Club while you're over there. And then, you know, they kind of get the experience of, wow, Walt Disney World's big. And there's, you know, this is like a deluxe little cluster of 3 hotels around this lake. And it's got boats that go to the studios and also you can walk into Epcot. Because I think, you know, all of us as first timers, we kind of thought that Walt Disney World was the Magic Kingdom and, you know, the theme park with the ball, you know, Epcot. But then you kind of understand that, well, that's definitely different than Pop Century, you know, like that's a whole nother level hotel experience. But, you know, I think like you said, you know, Pop Century is that good, melding of Disney and just regular culture, but a good value. And the Skyliner is very unique too. I think everybody should get a taste of that.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of what you did with your dad when you had
we just went around
because the world thing. You just took him around, showed him like the transportation and all that, you know, and like I think he had a great time doing that.
He did because we didn't have tickets. We just went around and kind of showed him from the outside the gates and stuff like that. Yeah, we had a blast. Now let me ask you this, okay? Because I want to also talk Disneyland and Disney Cruise Line a little bit, but I would skip Disney Springs for a first timers trip unless it was like, I'd say like 5 nights or longer, maybe. Or maybe do you go there? I guess it depends. Like maybe if they're big shoppers or that kind of person. What would you say about Disney Springs? So
I would just say it depends on it depends on your length of stay, right? If you were doing like a 5-night, 4-day ticket and so you had like an extra night, right? Like how would you do that? Would you do some type of resort hopping thing like you just talked about, or would you mix in some Disney Springs? I think it'd be kind of cool to go to Disney Springs because there's enough cool things to see there, right? Like you could go see a movie. You can go to Splitsville. We had that awesome BR Guest podcast meetup this summer. Like go do some bowling. Like again, I'm thinking about my dad and brother and things that they would actually get a kick out of. They wouldn't like the shopping.
Yeah,
like they would not like that.
But some people would. I mean, like, you know, my daughters and, you know, Pam, they love shopping. Oh my God, that's my worst nightmare. Yeah, but they would.
But they would like taking a boat over there, you know, like coming from like Old Key West. If we like somehow like had a breakfast or a lunch at Olivia's Cafe and then like took a boat over there and went bowling or did something over there, like I could see them enjoying that for a little bit if we didn't have a theme park ticket. Yeah. But I would say that would be like not a top priority. I wouldn't say it would be a mistake to go there necessarily. For a first timer for sure.
Another question for you before we bounce off of Walt Disney World. This will also deal with land. Well, land for sure. Do you get park hopper tickets for first timers?
I mean, I did when I was a first timer. It was actually a no brainer. Like I don't know why. I just felt like you had to do it. But so if it's gonna break you for not going, then I say no. Don't get it. But like I'd say you should. I think it's really important if you, especially like depending on the time of year, like if you're going in October and there's like hard ticket events happening, like for Not So Scary, and like so the Magic Kingdom is closing early a lot of times. I think it's really important to have those park hopper tickets so that you can go to Magic Kingdom in the morning and then go to Epcot later that night. I think it's really important for that. So I would say yes.
Okay. So let's shift gears to Disneyland. Okay. Now, so we're going to Disneyland, kind of some of the same questions.
Some of the same stuff. Yeah.
But let's start with where you're staying. Now, I would say at Disneyland, because I was in this boat just not too long ago, just 4 years ago, if you can stay on site for your first trip, because I'm telling you what, man, I was bit so hard. I stayed at the Disneyland Hotel. So the middle one of the 3 kind of pricing, you know, you got the Pixar place, you got the Grand California, which I still haven't stayed, but you tell me how awesome it is and everybody stays there, raves. And I know, cause I've gone, you know, I've eaten at Storytellers and I've toured it. But Disneyland Hotel is my favorite of any Disney hotel I've ever stayed at, just cause the nostalgia, just the feel of it. It feels like a little mini Polynesian, kind of in the middle there with Trader Sam's and Tango Terrace and the pool and everything. If you're a Walt Disney World person, staying at the Disneyland Hotel or one of those 3 kind of makes it feel like you're in the bubble. That made it feel bubble-ish to me. So I would say if you can if you're with a first timer, you know, because I'm fine with the Good Neighbor hotels now. Like the Hojo's fine for the race weekends for me now, but I think I would have not felt the same if that had been my first trip. I don't know.
Yeah, so I think it depends. So, and I think you kind of explained that, right? So if you are a Walt Disney World veteran that's never been to Disneyland,
because I needed a bubble, because I needed that bubble feel. I think staying on site is important for your first time. I'm going to give that example of my dad and brother. Like, I think they could care less because they're not a crazy Disney fan, you know, like staying at the Hojo, the Fairfield, the Tropicana. I don't think it would really matter to them. But someone that like is a Disney fan, because I think we see a lot of this, right? Because a lot of the podcast listeners are Walt Disney World fans that may want to go to Disneyland. So if you're in that situation where, oh yeah, I love Walt Disney World, I've been there a lot, I really scratching that itch like Mike was a few years ago, I want to go to Disneyland. My first timer tip would be, if you can, stay at one of those on-site hotels. It just makes that experience so much better for the first time. And then if you like it, which you should, most likely, like a second or a third trip, then yeah, I would venture out in the Good Neighbor hotels, because that's kind of what I'm doing, and that's what you've been doing lately too. But there's something about that first time that just makes that experience, just the full Disneyland experience, by staying on site, like that much more important, I think. Oh, it's 100 times better staying on site. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, you know, like I've gone solo for the race weekends, and the whole reason to be there was running. I didn't have the family. I didn't want. You know, you got to read the room, right? Like if I'm going to take the whole family, we're going to splurge a little bit because we're going to use the monorail pool. We're going to take advantage of the resort amenities. I was there to run. The Hojo took care of, you know, it was a place to sleep. It was a great hotel. I mean, it was awesome, but I didn't need all that for a race weekend. So that's why I've stayed off site, and it's a great place to stay, but it was way cheaper. I mean, and when you're doing Dopey and going straight out to Disneyland 3 weeks later and it's around the holidays, you got to cut, you know? And so that's the reason for that. But yeah, you're exactly right. Now, what about taking a first timer to Disneyland for the theme park aspect of it? Like what's your big advice there?
I mean, I would say if you want to ride Tiana's Bayou Adventure, let's bring them another pair of shoes.
Oh, dude, and
that
underwear.
would be one of my first biggest pieces of
underwear.
advice.
Just say no.
Or we're just going to skip it all together.
Yeah, just jump in the river for real, because you're going to not be as wet. My biggest thing is, and I've said this 100 times, we're just kind of echoing things because people are probably going to Google this and see like, oh, first timer tips. And hopefully this will help save somebody with like one of these tips, will help somebody have a better trip. If you're going to go out there, just add Lightning Lane and Park Hopper to your tickets. Just don't even think about it. Click those 2 boxes. Your trip will be so much better. I mean, because you just have the ultimate flexibility. You can go from, you know, soaring over in California Adventure to Indiana Jones and Disneyland and just not have to think about it, because you can walk there in 10 minutes and park hop, and you can maneuver your lightning lanes however you need them to go. And it's just, you have the ultimate access to this amazing complex. It is just, it's unparalleled. I mean, every time I'm out there, I still can't believe it. It's so easy.
Yeah, I agree. Another tip. So I would just say, like, for prioritization, like, I think the parades are fantastic out there, and the character interactions, you were just talking about it on a podcast, maybe in the future, maybe in the past, who knows where we're at.
It was in the past by about 2 weeks.
But we were talking about the face characters, like in Fantasyland, like Peter Pan and all them, like they're so good. So if you love characters, like, definitely carve out some time to meet characters out there. They are so great. But if you want to see a parade, prepare to get there early, because that is the culture out there in Southern California. The locals will go to work, and then they'll go to their park and bring their blankets and just secure their spot. So if you want a really nice location on Main Street for a parade, you got to prepare for it early. So I don't know if that would be like, I mean, what for a first timer then, Mike, I guess my question to you is, do you think it's worth trying to see a parade then? On your first time?
Yes. I think a first timer, like, you got to get the taste of what Disneyland is. Like, because for me, you know, I'd always heard that, Disneyland it's got it's a different beast than Walt Disney World. It's a locals park. And, you know, like, you hear that terminology thrown out forever, but that's where you feel it. Like, when you see people with blankets and camped out with like a bag of Fritos waiting for the parade. Then you see it's visualized, like it's conceptualized. You see, these people just got off of work at 4:30. They ran home, grabbed their stuff, drove down, parked in the parking garage, and brought the blanket and the family. And they're, this is their Friday night. Like, you see it, like they come to El Rancho del Zocalo, and that's their El Azteca. They grab dinner there, hang out in the plaza there at El Rancho, eat dinner, go watch a parade. And I'm like, I am so jealous of all these people. But I think, like, if you're taking a first timer, that's what you got to show them, because like that is what separates the Disneyland experience than the world. And I was talking, actually, we were eating dinner at El Rancho del Zocalo with Sean and his wife, and we were having this exact conversation that's world. Everybody seems rushed compared to Disneyland. Like at Disneyland, people are just going there and having dinner, like I'll just chill because the parade starts at 8:45. Like I'm not in a rush because it's only 6. Like at Walt Disney World, everybody's like scarfing down their meal because they're trying to get 5 more rides in before the park closes. Like nobody, everybody's like trying to get so much done at World, which is one's not better than the other, but it's 2 different kind of feels. Like nobody's just like got off work at Walt Disney World. Everybody's on vacation and like, I only get 5 days, man. I got to get as much out of this. I got to wring this vacation as hard as I can. I don't know. Do you feel that? I think everybody should get the different feels of the 2 places.
Yeah, it's totally a different vibe for sure. And I mean, and I will say, like, there are locals in Florida too,
True.
in
But
Orlando,
I don't think you see it as
that
much.
behave that way too. You just don't see it as much for sure.
That's true. But you see it like a lot at Disneyland. Like, I mean, you see like the pin trading thing, like in Frontierland, is crazy.
Oh yeah,
it's
so great.
So I would say that, but I would say, like, along with that, make sure you take a first timer to see like Fantasmic, like you said, like Paint the Night if it's showing, or World of Color, because those things are really, really good. And they're uniquely, even Fantasmic, even though it shows at World, it's uniquely Disneyland out there too. Because you did that for me. Like, I'm so glad that we got to see this. I'm like, oh yeah, we got, because that made my trip.
And I don't want to sound like a broken record, because I've given like this advice many times with Disneyland, but I actually have taken my dad to Disneyland. You were with me, Mike.
Yeah, it was awesome.
It was pretty awesome. And as a first timer, I got to kind of experience this. So some of my tips for him was, the first thing I did was take him to Pirates of the Caribbean, like one of the best attractions out there. And then we went and got Mickey beignets and mint juleps right afterwards. And that was like one of the coolest things, just sitting out there, with our bag of beignets, kind of shaking them, getting the powdered sugar in there, and just sitting in there, like hearing the train come by and all that. It was just a really cool moment for me. And we were just relaxing out there talking and all that. And like, that's the beauty of Disneyland. You can just kind of slow down, as you were just saying. And like, because no one feels like in a rush, even as my dad, like, just a 1-day ticket, and we weren't feeling rushed, because like there's so much to do, and you can just have a great time no matter what you're doing at Disneyland. So that would be another tip of mine. Like, just enjoy the moment. It is a park, and you don't have to bounce from ride to ride to ride, even though you can with ease, but like, just slow it in and just enjoy where you're at.
And they have 2 things they have a lot of. They have a lot of benches, and they have a lot of snacks, and they go well together. I'm just saying, you can grab a snack and you can grab a bench, man. And
Dave from the old Walt Disney World videos, like, could you imagine if he did a Disneyland video? Yes. He would just be loving it.
But that's what makes it a park. Like, seriously, because there's benches in the shade, and just there's places to get such good snacks. There's churro carts everywhere. There's corn. Like, you just buy corn, baked potatoes. It's crazy. All right, let's move to cruise line for here, about 10 minutes or so, 15 minutes. What would you say for a first timer? Like, how about even picking an itinerary to take a first timer? Is it that introductory 3-4 night Wish? I mean, of course, the Wish is going to Europe actually in 27.
I know, that's gonna be kind of cool.
I know. It's
because you can do longer sailings now on the Wish,
yes.
So longer nights. It's kind of cool.
But so I mean, would you always do the introductory? Because that's kind of like the obligatory. Because maybe I'm just letting the travel agent speak, but is the obligatory first timer cruise the 3-4 night? Like, for me, it's the 4-night Bahamian. Is that?
It's the 4-night. It's the 4-nighter for sure. Now we're talking Disney Cruise Line here. Now, if they've sailed like another cruise line, like another 5 or 6 nighter, then I might dip into like a 5-nighter for sure for Disney Cruise Line. But yeah, like that 4-night Bohemian cruise out of Port Canaveral or Fort Lauderdale if you want to travel down that way too. It just seems like the ideal place to start, no doubt. And that's the itinerary I'm looking at. And I'm trying not to look at because I've learned, and our at the time of this recording, our friends Jared and Stacy are on the fantasy right now, which is 99.9% full. So try to avoid like a holiday weekend. I was on the fantasy over Thanksgiving. There were no upgrades to concierge, no room upgrades. That cruise is full. So try to avoid like a holiday cruise, because a full ship can, for a first timer, might be a little overwhelming, because you've been on some full ships too, right, Mike? And it just feels different, don't you think?
100%. I mean, I've been on the total, like both ends of the spectrum. I've been on a totally empty ship, which was terrible for like just a media thing for post.
Because you need some people that have that energy.
That was the worst ever, because there was no energy. There was nothing happening. I hated that cruise. I mean, it was great to be on the cruise, but like it was just nothing was fun. But yeah, a full ship is going to be. I mean, you know what? I'd rather be on 100% sold out ship though, because. Not for a first timer, maybe not for a first timer, but like I'm all in, for like, I'm a social person, like bring it on for like the, Evolution or, whatever, Sarabe or whatever it's called, the adult area at night.
But for a first timer though, it might be frustrating, because then like you're waiting to like, you don't have, you're what you're trying, what you're doing, Mike, because you're a veteran cruiser. So to get there early and do certain things. A first timer, it might be just too much. So that's why I would say when we're talking about itinerary, you should maybe try to avoid holiday weekend cruises, because those do tend to be really full cruises.
Plus too, for a first timer, think about this, like people with status with Disney Cruise Line, Castaway Club, they're going to tend to not sail the 3 and 4 night Bahamian cruises, because most of them people have been there, done that earlier. So you're going to, as a first-time cruiser, have a better chance to get stuff you're looking for, like adult dining, spa appointments, stuff like that, port adventures you're looking for as a first-timer on those sailings, because you're not going to be competing with people that are pearl and platinum and gold. I would think, I'm just trying to make logic there, because they're going to probably be moving on to like, Alaska sailings and, say the longer Caribbean sailings or, things like that, Mediterranean sailings, things like that.
Yep. So for a first time cruiser on Disney Cruise Line, I was just editing a video on an embarkation day, and it can be a little overwhelming, but I want to know what your thought is on this. I think going to the sail away or sail a wave, depending on what ship you're on, party is a fun thing to do. And I think that just like starts like, you cruise off on the right foot, brings a lot of energy right after the muster drill. Would you encourage a first-time cruiser to go to the top deck and partake in that activity?
I still do it every sailing. I mean, because it just wouldn't feel like the cruise ever started if I didn't go to the sail away, or like you said, sail away on the Magic or whatever cruise you're on. But I would even like take that to the next level. For a first-timer, get a good spot. Like make sure you're on the rail. Like, because I go to it, but I tend to kind of just like go up to the top deck, the higher deck, and just kind of get and like watch a sail away on the far rail and just kind of watch it on the TV or the big screen, the funnel vision.
Yep.
But for a first timer, I want them to have like the ultimate good experience. So I might invest an extra 20 minutes and like camp out for them to get them a prime spot, so they can see the cruise director staff who's going to be guiding them through the cruise the next few days, and the characters they pop out and all that, and get them ready for the horn and stuff like that. I wouldn't tell them, but I make sure they're ready for all the benchmarks that are going to happen.
The tricky part about that is like you got to hustle right after your muster.
True. But you can do it because
depends on where your location is for your muster. You got to like book it. Don't take the elevator. Just run up those stairs as fast as you can. And
But see, that'd be our role though, because as somebody you're taking a first timer, you kind of know the tips and tricks. Like get there for them and be like, look for me, find me. And we'll be in a good spot.
You run up there, you get there. Don't worry, I'll get the chicken tenders for you. You get the spot. Yeah. I'll be your food runner and your drink runner.
Yeah, like I'll get this spot. Pam will get the drink of the day, and we'll meet you between the two funnels and right there on the starboard side.
And I agree. So there's. On our last couple cruises, like we've been like in the adult pool doing it, just because like I'm like now can go in the adult area, and that's kind of been a different perspective. It's kind of cool, like you're sailing away and then like you feel the ship moving like in the pool. That's kind of different, but I like both aspects of that. I like the party atmosphere, and you can still kind of hear the music and stuff like in the pool area. But first time cruiser, like you nailed it. Like and that's the answer I was gonna give too. Like it's fun to be in that energy and just be right there in the middle of it. You get to meet the cruise director, the entertainment staff, the characters are out on the pool deck dancing. You know, it is like that is like the party. Like it is just psychs you up for the whole cruise, whether it's a 3, 4, 5 night or whatever. It is just an awesome feeling. That's when vacation starts right there.
Yeah, you cannot be in a bad mood like after like because they just build through the sail away party to the 5, 4, 3, and then the horns. Once those horns go, man, it's just on. Like it's just like
it is on.
It's so good. Okay, so Charlotte's asking. I love this question because I have. She says, Charlotte, one of our lizards, killed it down at Marathon Weekend this past year. What's the most favored ship for someone's first cruise? And I honestly, I don't think there is a better or worse first cruise ship. I think, again, it's that 3 or 4 night Bahamian itinerary, whichever ship is sailing that at the time, which right now it's the Wish. But I don't think any ship is better or worse because I think you can have a great first cruise on the Magic. That was my first cruise. I mean, it's the only ship that was in the fleet. That's how old I am. I'm old as dirt. But if you took your first cruise on the Treasure, I mean, you're going to have a great cruise on that, or the Destiny, or whatever you have. It's going to be I don't think the ship matters. I just think maybe start off in kind of a like manageable, but I mean, if your first cruise is the Eastern Caribbean, I mean, hello, you're going to have a great cruise.
We've always said we feel like whatever your first ship is, the one that you fall in love with the most. Like our friend Beth, her favorite is the Wish, and that's the one she took first, and that might actually be my least favorite right now. And I love that ship; it's so beautiful. Like I love the staterooms, and the decor is so great. But dang, like the fantasy is so good. The dream, they're all so great. It's so hard to pick. I would lean towards like a dream or fantasy though, as my sweet spot. But you can't go wrong, like you said, Mike. Like they're all really great. They're all really special. The dining is great. The crew is amazing on every single Disney ship. That's what really makes. I was just on to Jared about it because they're sailing right now, as I said, and he was messaging me. He's like, "Oh my gosh, like we were just on the Fantasy 2 years ago, and people are like remembering us the second we walk on the ship from 2 years ago." Like that's the beauty of Disney Cruise Line. It is just unbelievable. Ah, man, it's so good.
Jared's easy to remember. I mean,
he's the easy guy to remember. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
He kind of leaves awake where he goes. And so, speaking of
even if he gets his hairs cut, and they still remember.
We love Jared. He's easy to remember. Okay, so a couple more things on cruise line. So I would, just throw in some obvious things out there. Make sure they see the shows.
What do you think there's a dining preference?
That's what I was going to say. Main dining.
For like first, second seating or second, or like, you know what I mean? Like first seating.
Yeah. First seating. I would say,
that's what you meant.
Main dining. So dinner, then the show, I think, because I think that flows better for like evening activities. I think, I don't know. That's my personal preference. I just feel like some people eat late.
I don't think it really matters. I think if you don't like crowds, I think you run into less crowds if you're on second dining.
You do. That's 100% true. Yeah.
So I think if you go to the show first, I think you're going to see less people in the theater potentially. So that's just one thing to consider. But
that's a good point. That's good. Yeah. Cause the second dining will have fewer people. Yeah. That's a good point. That's something to think about. One other thing for first timers, if you want to get your kids involved with the kids club, do it on day one, because especially teens and preteens, like not force, but encourage them to at least go to the open house / meet and greet on embarkation day, because at least maybe they can meet other kids their age and just kind of get a feel for like edge and vibe or whatever group they're in, and see if they can, maybe make a connection with other kids, because sometimes they do, and then they enjoy that the whole cruise. But those bonds happen early in the cruise, and so it's harder to do that on day 2, day 3 of the cruise. So if your kids are going to get involved, do that early. That's what I say.
And speaking of bonds, so maybe a first-time cruiser might not be thinking about this, but this is something I think about. I like the bond with the crew. I was just kind of like talking up the crew a lot lately. So one thing I like to do is, I like to partake in an adult alcoholic beverage every now and then too. So like maybe I'll find a lounge I like Mike, we liked Keys on the Magic. Mm-hmm. So we hung out in there a little bit, or at Fathoms, and I'll find like a server or a bartender I really like, and I'll get to know them early on in the cruise, like on night one especially, and then just get to know them, like learn their story, and like we're talking about with Jared, like they'll remember you the next time you're on the ship, and it's just so cool. But like you get to learn their history, like where they're from, and then I just love learning about the cast members, and like you like on the Magic, I keep going back to that, but Mike, we ran into Bonnie, which we've seen that guy on like 4 different cruise ships. Like it's just amazing. We like he keeps bouncing around, and we keep bouncing around with him on ships, and like it's just so amazing. Like you learn the stories of these cast members, and we wouldn't be able to do that without talking and interacting with them. And I think that's something that you might not do as a first-time cruiser, and you don't have to do that. Maybe that's more of a second and third, fourth time, but I just really love talking, interacting with the crew, because they might be a little lonely, you know, they're not seeing their family. And I think we're kind of their family on these sailings. And I think it's really important to you to talk to them.
Yeah. And I think that's what you would point out to your first time friends who are sailing with you, is that, you know, you have more time to interact because, you know, it's not a rushed experience like at the parks. You know, like you're here, and you can, when you're having a drink at the bar, you can just, you know, ask them questions, talk to them. Like we did that at Currents on the Destiny with the bartender up there, because we're the only people up there the whole time we were there. Pam and I had a drink after dinner, just talked to her about, you know, what she enjoys, about how long she'd been on the Destiny, because, you know, it's like it's 4th or 5th sailing, like what was it like coming over and all that stuff. And you know, she told us all about it. We learned so much, and I think she was glad to talk to somebody, you know, because nobody was coming up nobody knew Currents was up there on the Destiny. We didn't even realize it until like day 4, you know, like it was great. But it's a good point. Jennifer from St. Charles County here saying, or get involved, the kids, you know, not only like going to open house, but also those pre-cruise like Facebook groups, like the kids could like make connections there. Even the adults. I mean, we've done that, dude. What about fish extenders? Don't do them for first time. No, first timers might like them, but
it might be still a little overwhelming for a first timer.
Yeah, that's a good point. They're overwhelming. I'm not a fish extender guy, dude. It's like I have PTSD from fish extenders, man. It was like a sweatshop here the times we did them for the podcast cruise years ago. Oof. It was a lot.
But that's another first timer tip, actually. Like bring some magnets. Like, so
yes.
Actually, no, seriously though, because like you might be sad that your door is bare.
Yes.
And just looks out of place. So like people decorate their doors like crazy on Disney Cruise Line. I am one of them. I know Mike is another one. And we bring magnets and decorations because the doors are magnetic, so you can like do all these cool decorations. And wow, I mean, no one's going to call you out for it, but it might be a little embarrassing when you're walking down the aisle in the stateroom and your door has nothing on it. So you might want to bring some magnets.
Easy there, Bubs. Our door on the Destiny in December was blank as anything because I forgot the envelope, dude.
Oh, no.
Totally forgot it, man. We looked like homeless
people.
It
happens sometimes, Mike. That's okay.
But we were on deck 7 and like near the elevators, and everybody else, like you said, man, I'm telling you what, the door next door, they had a mailbox like for ducks. I mean, some people had LED lights.
Hey, you were duck hunting that trip too,
I was duck hunting. And I'm telling you what, man, because it was around Christmas, people had Christmas lights. I mean, it was, you know, that TV show, like the Great Christmas Light Flight or whatever it was. Dude, the whole hallway was decked out, except ours looked like homeless people. I'm just saying, so Pam, I forgot. I almost went and bought that pack you can buy in the store, but I was like, that'd be so basic. I'm like, I can't do that. I'm not paying $20. We're just looking terrible. I'm like, people like rookies. Like, dude,
that's okay. And then you guys are like platinum cruisers. They had no idea.
I was like, I'm just swallowing my pride and just not letting anybody see me go in this door. No, okay, so we got about 2 minutes left. So, like, I mean, you just got to take advantage of all the cool stuff that only Cruise Line does. Like, I would make sure try to take them to like Apollo or at Ashante or Remy. If they're a foodie, you know, Pirate Night, see the fireworks at sea because that's special to DCL. Yeah. I mean, any other things?
Yeah, I mean, just really a first-time cruiser might just be a little overwhelmed in a way, but like one little tip, like Disney Cruise Line really makes it easy for you for a non-planner to plan, because they're planning your dining every night. Like, you know, like I'm going to this restaurant at this time and there's going to be a show here. So they kind of make it easy for you. So I will say like sometimes a Walt Disney World vacation might be a little stressful. Disneyland might be a little stressful. But so if someone is like on the fence about doing a cruising and you're like planning with them, just let them know like Disney Cruise Line not as stressful. They make it kind of easy for you once you're on that ship, which is why I love it so much.
And by the way, you will be on a Disney Cruise Line ship this weekend.
Yes, I will, baby. Oh man, I can't wait.
So here's the question. Are you going to be updating? Because you started, people might not know this, a little history of the podcast. I think we have a long history at this point because, we're almost starting our 19th year of the podcast here shortly in a couple of weeks.
Unbelievable.
But, we've had different versions of like message boards. Now we have the Discord server, the Clubhouse, which is amazing. I love it so much because it's really brought our community back. You started the live from the Disney Parks channel when you went on your Norwegian cruise on Royal Caribbean. We're like, dude, just post pictures while you're there because I want to see them all live. And so we just changed it to live from the Disney destinations when you got home. Yep. Are you going to be updating that on this cruise? I mean, from the cruise or what? I
100% will be because I know my man Mike will be sitting on the couch looking for something to do. So I will be updating you constantly.
That way I'm not looking down because I'm not, you don't know this about me. So I had ankle surgery back in college, right? This is the last time I had surgery. This is like back in the 90s. And I had my ankle rebuilt, right? Because it was messed up from speed skating. And I can't believe I'm telling the story on the air. But like I went into the guy and they looked at it because it was like real big. I couldn't get my ankle into my boot anymore on my speed skates. And like they looked at it and like, dude, something's wrong with your ankle. Like they did like a MRI, whatever. And they're like, dude, we're going in the next morning. They're like, we're going in and we're figuring out what that is. Like something is wrong. Like the thing is sticking out like a elbow or something, my left ankle. So they went in because they're worried, like they thought it might be cancer or something. And it was something like a synovial cyst or something. And my ankle bone was all messed up. So they went in and fixed that all up. And so after that though, I had a big old scar and everything on my foot. On my ankle, but I'm so queasy. I pass out when I see blood and stuff. I never once looked at the scar or the whole bandage thing. Like everybody else changed my stuff every day. Like I'd be looking away because I pass out. Like I can't. So I will not be looking below the belt there. Well, it's not below the belt, but I mean below. I'm not looking south. Yeah. I'm just saying because I do not. I'll pass out, dude. I'm a passer outer.
Understandable. Yeah.
Are you a passer? Can you look at blood?
I can. I mean, when I like get blood work and stuff, I still
can't
like
do that either. I can't do that either.
I give it some side eye, know.
You're a vampire. See, like when they're like, okay, we gotta do the IV, or I'm like, I can't. I do not.
It's like science, baby.
It's not science. It's like it's not natural. I'm just like I can't, man. I'm just like, like sir, relax. I'm like, relax. You're jabbing me with a 7-foot needle. What do you relax? Anyway. We're off topic, as always. So anyway, we're going to be back again next Wednesday. And next Wednesday, you're in for a treat. We're just going to tell Mike and Scott stories from trips. Run Disney trips, cruises, Walt Disney World vacations. We're just going to hang out for a little bit and have some fun. So come on back for that. Scott will actually be on vacation, but so, we're recording early. So come on back for that. Don't forget, our show is always brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel. We're here to help you plan amazing Disney vacations for no additional cost to you. Check out all the details today over at themagicforless.com. Please also use that Amazon affiliate link when you shop online. Just click through beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. And thank you so very much to our Patreon supporters. You guys keep us on the air, so thank you so much for that. You can support us as well, just $5 a month. And for that support, you get a bonus show called Mike in the Midwest. Come over this week. We'd sure love to have you. Patreon.com/beourguestpodcast. You can give me a follow on social media at BeOurGuestMike, and that's on Instagram, X.com, and Threads. You can follow Scott at Epscott, EPSCOT in those same places, but the place you got to go, even when he's heading out to see his must-see adventures, because this is all going to be on the channel very shortly. But right now, Scott, what's happening on the channel while you are in San Diego and at sea and at Disneyland? What's up?
I mean, I'm hanging out with you on the channel right now. We're on the Disney Magic, speaking of cruise line. So we're on last year's Be Our Guest podcast cruise, hanging out in the Magic. We're dining. We're going to Lookout Key, Castaway Key, just having a grand old time. So if you want to check that out, just go check out Must See Adventures on YouTube.
That's your homework for this Wednesday. Must See Adventures. Like and subscribe today. And also, like I said, come over to the Clubhouse. That's where we're all hanging out. I'll be hanging out from the couch. And I'll need to keep you guys keep me company. So coming over to BeOurGuestPodcast.com/clubhouse. Let's hang out. Let's talk sports. Let's talk Disney. Let's talk life. I'll see you all over there. No live show this Sunday night, but we'll be getting back to them very, very soon. All right. So for Scotty G, I'm Mike here in Missouri. You guys have a great Wednesday. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you real soon.
You've been listening to the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. If you have questions, comments, or would like to be a guest on the show, please visit our website at beourguestpodcast.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you real soon.